Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Today we talk about an exotic weapon and one of the few changes that has come to Destiny 2 recently. As you know, with the season finale finished, as anticlimactic as it may have been, episode Echoes is pretty much done. But even with the small drought we're going through as we wait for Revenant to kick off next month, Bungie decided to give a specific weapon a facelift. This of course being Eriana's Vow. Now, you might be wondering what I actually mean by this, which takes us to the most recent Destiny update. Within there was a patch note that reads, fixed an issue where Eriana's Vow was not correctly dealing 67% increased damage to barrier champions. In addition, removed a minus 40% scaler the weapon had for dealing damage against barrier champion shields. This buff has given Eriana's Vow the ability to one-tap barrier shields regardless of circumstance. But does that make it worth using? And to answer that and look at what else this weapon has to offer, we're taking a look at the updated version of Eriana's Vow, breaking down what it does since it has seen a number of buffs, and analyzing its end-game performance. Also, if you like this type of content, head down there, click the subscribe button, it helps me out a ton. And another thing, apologies if I sound a little congested, I am coming off of sickness. Starting with the exotic itself, we have its main perk, Looks Can Kill. This first part just says that it's essentially a special ammo hand cannon and that it's intrinsically anti-barrier. But there is this new addition where it says breaking a matched shield or piercing a champion's barrier will cause the target to ignite. But that was, again, a new addition. We'll circle back to that in a moment. The other thing that Eriana's Vow has is Death at First Glance. This says bonus damage when aiming down sights on the opening shot of an attack. This bonus is preserved if the shot deals precision damage or strikes an elemental shield. It works fairly intuitively. You ADS, you get a 32.5% damage increase for that next shot, and that buff is preserved if you hit an elemental shield or deal precision damage. So you can just rattle off on a single target and keep the 32.5% buff going. Outside of this exotic's higher than normal damage profile for being a special weapon, this is what makes it quite desirable. And you'll hopefully be making use of this all the time when you have this weapon equipped. As for what else we have here, we do have the Catalyst. This gives it an increased magazine size and also the autoloading perk, which is extremely nice on special weapons and especially anti-champion weapons. And this also makes me want to touch on the main perk just a little bit more. A 32.5% buff isn't a whole lot for an exotic weapon. This is effectively just a closer range sniper. So a lot of this weapon's identity is its intrinsic anti-barrier capabilities. But this weapon was released back in Shadowkeep, where that was actually a unique thing. Now, that isn't so much, and we have a ton of ways to deal with champions, so it really fell off. But Bungie clearly saw that and gave it the second aspect of its main perk, where it can cause ignition on shield breaks or piercing barriers. And that was clearly done in the hopes of making it more desirable. But I feel like it still went under the radar. I definitely didn't use it when this buff launched with the final shape, and I'd be willing to bet you didn't either, because Bungie then went and buffed it again. This was the buff I mentioned at the beginning of the video that specifically boosted its damage against barrier shields. But like many things with that patch, if you recall, it just didn't work properly. Eriana's Vow completely dodged the buff, and not many people even noticed because, again, no one even uses it. But then the final change and exigence for this video was the patch that fixed the error with that buff, as well as removing its intrinsic lower damage. I saw tweets likening this to Rock Lee taking off his weights, so here I want to answer if that's actually how it feels. First and foremost are the initial impressions. And those are, it's not bad. Eriana's Vow can easily take care of a barrier champ with less than a full mag. I did find it ran into some issues when dealing with other champs due to its fairly low damage output. It's not nuking by any means, but when playing to its strengths of popping shields, it's very good. The second aspect that actually impressed me were the ignitions when popping shields. Since Eriana's so easily does that to barriers and will always one-shot solar shields, ignitions are not difficult to make. And if you pair this with ignition chaining, Eriana's can actually clear rooms of ads. Also, if you want more on ignition chaining, check out this video that I made going over the best loadout to make use of it. But then onto the more gray areas of my time with this exotic, it felt just okay for dealing with smaller ads. I was one-tapping snipers and all that, but ammo economy wasn't too hot when used to take care of the fodder. And it does run into range issues. I did say you could one-tap snipers, but there are times where you'll be aiming at a sniper, taking shots, and the auto-aim just does not help you. But on the topic of dealing with minor enemies, compared to a rocket sidearm, they can do that and hold almost double what Eriana's does. That being 30 versus about 50 shots respectively. And then, while a bit unfair of a comparison, its DPS and bossing capabilities are very low. It already had a somewhat hard time dealing with non-barrier champs, so putting that up against a GM boss or similar, and you're going to see it fall off hard. When we've recently been spoiled by absolute monster special weapons like Still Hunt and Choir of One, it's a little difficult to champion for Eriana's Vow. Obviously, not every weapon should be good in every facet, but I feel like Eriana's Vow is a little too specialized towards barrier champs and shields. Or maybe we should look at Eriana's Vow more like a rocket sidearm rather than a sniper. Ultimately, I thought Eriana's Vow was alright. I remember using it way back in the day during my solo duality runs and popping phalanxes through their shields, but now there is just a ton of competition in the slot that it occupies. For any of my solar enjoyers out there, it might be worth trying this exotic out once more, or if you're just feeling like trying something new, I doubt you'll find it a terrible experience. There is most definitely still room for buffs with this exotic hand cannon, and I hope Bungie revisits it again. But yeah, for now, it's gonna go back into the vault. And with that, I think that's everything I really wanted to say. There are a couple other exotics that I wanted to touch on that got buffed either midway through this episode or at the beginning. Things like Necrochasm and some other exotics that I can't think of off the top of my head. So if you want me to look at anything, play with it, lay it down how it is, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll do just that. Also, let me know if you've actually used Eriana's Vow. Again, it got buffed midway through the episode and people just didn't even notice the buff didn't go through. So I doubt there are many people that actually still use this exotic. But outside of that, thank you so much for getting this far into the video. Your viewership means a ton. I'm glad I can create content for you. If you like my channel, if you like what I do, a comment, a like, a subscription goes a long way. It helps the channel out a ton. We're on the way to 10,000 subscribers and I couldn't be happier to have you with me. If you want to support me and support the channel, but you can't think of a comment down below Eriana's Vow. And with that, as usual, I hope you are having a great day and I hope to see you around. Oh my god. He fucking replying. Bro blasted
you did
off.
The skate. You prismatic by chance.
I am. Oh!
That's crazy.
That was wild.
Damn, that kill check is crazy. Maybe this build is not too bad.
I actually got fucking jump scared by a brig.